In Minneapolis, a fraud investigation turns chaotic after a clash and shooting, but the unchecked abuse of federal welfare funding in Minnesota is just one of 50 states where there's trouble.
We have a massive identity fraud problem in all of our programs.
This week, how a safety net for Americans has become a cash cow for criminals, ripping off all honest taxpayers. America's swift and surgical action to remove Venezuela's dictator to face charges in the U.S. has sent shockwaves and warnings to other U.S. adversaries.
The Cuban regime should be thinking about its survival.
This week, President Trump's America First policy that's now focused on U.S. interests in all of the Americas. And as AI weaves itself deeper into our everyday lives, there are rising concerns about fairness and truth in the judicial system. Judge Wingate in Mississippi had serious inaccuracies in his order.
It's so obvious that he should be embarrassed.
We talked with Senator Chuck Grassley, head of the Senate Judiciary Committee, about the impact of judges caught using fake information from AI in their rulings. Welcome to Full Measure. I'm Sharyl Attkisson. We begin today in the troubled city of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Tensions are heightened and investigations up and running after a federal immigration agent shot and killed a woman who was allegedly barreling her car toward him Wednesday. There are claims of self-defense on one side and accusations of murder on the other. But the agents are there in the first place under a massive surge of 2,000 Homeland Security agents deployed in part to investigate a multi-billion-dollar fraud scandal. Prosecutors say the case involves the theft of $250 million in taxpayer money to feed needy children. At least 78 people, mostly from Somalia, have been charged so far and dozens convicted. Investigators have now expanded to broader allegations in multiple states regarding housing assistance and Medicaid-funded autism services. Cases allege bogus autism therapy providers and kickbacks given to parents. U.S. attorneys say about 90% of the defendants in the three schemes are from Somalia. Minnesota U.S. Attorney Joe Thompson has stated that half or more of $18 billion in federal taxpayer money given through 14 high-risk Minnesota programs since 2018 may have been lost to fraud. How could such massive scams happen and go on for so long? Lisa Fletcher reports.
60 years ago, President Lyndon Johnson laid the groundwork for modern anti-poverty programs, launching his Great Society agenda. The plan reshaped the federal government's role in fighting poverty, expanded health care through Medicare and Medicaid, and increased federal involvement in education and civil rights, among other programs.
The Great Society asked not how much, but how good.
The first-year price tag, $1 billion. Today, the system it spawned costs more than $1 trillion a year, and a staggering share is lost to fraud, waste, and abuse. According to the U.S. Government Accountability Office, the nonpartisan watchdog that audits federal spending, most of the bad or mistaken payments are in three programs: Medicaid, the health insurance program for low-income Americans; Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, the grocery benefit once called food stamps; and Supplemental Security Income, or SSI, monthly cash help for very low-income people who are elderly or have disabilities. All told, those errors, much of which is fraud, add up to about $521 billion a year. To be clear, that's about half the total cost of the program.
We have a massive identity fraud problem in all of our programs.
Andrew McClenahan is an investigator for the United Council on Welfare Fraud. He says the root cause is simple: we don't verify.
Is there one program that enables fraud more easily than any of the other welfare programs?
Well, they're tied together. So in Medicaid, states have the option, it's called 1634 option, that allows the Social Security Administration to determine eligibility for SSI. The problem is that Social Security Administration bases their eligibility still on the honor system. The SSA Inspector General has said, you need to verify everybody's eligibility. They don't. That means that liars and millionaires can get on SSI.
In many states, SSI opens the door to Medicaid for seniors and people with disabilities, and often makes them automatically eligible for SNAP, multiplying the opportunity for fraud.
If you get SSI, which is maximum almost $1,000 a month, and you get SNAP, you're going to be getting about $15,000 a year. We're not checking to make sure that they're on other states' enrollments, that they're not dual enrolled even in the same state, and that they're not incarcerated, deceased.
The overlapping systems with little accountability make the system ripe for ripoffs in several states.
The federal agency that runs the Medicaid program is threatening to withhold payments to Minnesota programs unless the state addresses widespread fraud.
Minnesota has drawn attention for a series of fraud scandals with taxpayer money, in which several daycare centers, including the Quality Learning Center in Minneapolis, alleged to have been only an empty building, receiving government funds despite not providing actual child care services. Additionally, some 60 people in the local Somali community have been convicted of felonies, accused of stealing from a program meant to feed children during the COVID-19 pandemic, skimming more than $1 billion in taxpayer money. In Maine, a similar investigation is underway into alleged multi-million-dollar Medicaid fraud tied to Gateway Community Services, a healthcare contractor run by a Somali American. The organization denies the allegations. And in Florida, the Opelika-Hialeah flea market became a case study in how quickly SNAP benefits, which are on a state-issued debit card, turn into cash, guns, and even sex trafficking.
6 food stamp fraud. Police and the Fed sweep into a South Florida flea market and make dozens of arrests.
We were seeing EBT being exchanged for assault weapons, AK-47s, cash, 50 cents on the dollar. People were exchanging sex with workers for EBT benefits. That's not what this entitlement program design was made for.
Are there enough people on the job to get their arms around the size of this problem?
Not at all. In fact, the regulations say that you have to have at least one fraud investigator for every 5,000 households. Some of the states only have 1 or 2 fraud investigators for the whole state.
With so few investigators on the ground, Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins recently flagged massive fraud challenges, from deceased people receiving benefits to individuals collecting in multiple states.
When we found 186,000 dead people or dead people's Social Security numbers being used, 500,000 people receiving benefits more than twice. We had a couple of people receiving benefits in 6 states.
What's the fix?
I think Secretary Brooke Rollins has signaled that they're going to be getting back to the basics. They're focused on helping people get out of and off SNAP. There needs to be improved data sharing and doing those eligibility verifications and protect the program, because there are people who need it.
Which is why the Trump administration is bringing back Clinton-era work requirements, making benefits conditional on work or volunteer hours, and applying the rules to Medicaid, measures now implemented on the recent One Big Beautiful Bill.
The One Big Beautiful Bill has tried to go back to the 1996 reform and say, if you are an able-bodied adult, you have to work. And so now, if you're between the ages of 18 and 55, you have to either work, volunteer, or look for work. If you don't, you're going to be off the program in 3 months. And now the One Big Beautiful Bill has also extended those work requirements to Medicaid as well.
Not everyone agrees. 21 Democrat-led states and Washington, D.C. are suing the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which runs SNAP, to stop its plans to collect 5 years of benefit recipients' names, addresses, and Social Security numbers, a step officials say could help prevent fraud by spotting duplicate accounts and verifying eligibility.
The elephant in the room is that they're concerned that this administration is going to use those recipient rolls and the data that's in there to identify, locate, and deport illegal immigrants.
There are estimates as high as 85 cents out of every dollar lost to waste, fraud, and abuse.
Oh yeah, and for every dollar that is lost to fraud, taxpayers are actually paying $4 in real money when you factor in the staff and the investigators to chase the fraud, the court costs, the audits, and then the ripple effect that comes from ineligible people using the services that were meant for others.
Really interesting. Thank you, Lisa.